Hello, hello. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors. Right now, I'm working on the second draft of my third novel. The first draft came in at 75,000 words when my goal was 95,000 words. And that goal was a little bit inflated because I want to have 5 extra thousand words that I could cut down and improve the diction within, with the end goal of delivering a completed manuscript of about 90,000 words. Well, the best laid plans frequently go off track with writing, or more generally, in life. What did I do? My outline failed and I underwrote that first draft. I've had plenty of running courses that I've shortened due to sudden incoming severe weather, or because I wasn't feeling the run. And one instance in particular that I should have shortened. For the more mundane, I might alter a running plan if my knee starts hurting or if I realize I'm more tired than I thought I was. If I were smart, I would end the run at that point of pain, so I wouldn't be doing further damage. I'm usually not that smart, so I kind of just bear through it and make myself much, much worse. That's how I run, though I am starting to notice a lot more injury-prone tendencies the older I'm getting. Anyways, for my work in progress with writing, I created an outline which looked like it had enough plot beats. When I realized I was going to undershoot my word count goals, I could have stopped right there, adjusted my outline, and worked on the first draft moving forward. What I actually did was I finished that first draft, went back, revised my outline, and now I'm currently working on integrating those changes in with the second draft. Now, I am particularly cautious with adding words because I never want to add words for the sake of adding words. I want these to align with the book's theme. I want these to feel like they're integral to the entire plot of the book, and not that they're bolted on at the end. That's why I like the second strategy better, where I got to the end and then went back to revise my outline. This allowed me to highlight specific moments that I wanted to and better align with the tension and plot progression of the story. Knowing how the draft ended and the rough approximation for pacing gave me all the information I need to finish it as I want and add to the story in a way which keeps it intact. What are 5 ways I've increased a novel's length without increasing its bore factor? Number 1, add a character. I once heard that each named character within a novel adds 1 to 5,000 words depending on their relevance to the story. A person adds to a story's complexity, requiring word counts to unpack. For example, they aren't just a name. They're a physical description, personality, and history. You may not simply want to add that extra person into the core group, as a team of 4 is a significantly different dynamic than a team of 3. Not to mention that you really should go back to all relevant scenes and add that person in, which makes things exponentially more complicated. Don't be like me. In early drafts, I've been called out for having a large ensemble cast together in the same scene, where one character doesn't speak or take an action until the very end. By that point, readers will have forgotten that they were present, and that's not good. Adding more people to a scene requires that they talk or do some action or remind readers that they're still present as the pages go on and on and on, which becomes chaotic as each person needs to do some specific, unique thing. This then becomes a balancing act. Maybe instead of adding the character to the core team, the team gets a new helper. Maybe since they already have support for a weapons specialist, they get somebody who can fix all the damage to the vehicles. Or if this is a fantasy setting, they get somebody who can feed the horses. To counter that point, there are characters and stories I've read where they and all the content surrounding them added nothing to the story, so they could have easily been removed. Don't do that. Make the character we've added in memorable. Give them a reason to be in the story. Maybe the core team has crashed a spaceship, and while the narrator and their team are waiting for the mechanic that we've added in to arrive, the team gets ambushed. So now they need to wait on that mechanic who's elevated in importance, and the faster they work, the more likely it is that everyone will get out alive. Adding in that one new character easily adds to word counts and possibly creates all new scenes and situations, especially if we go back and add them into prior moments. Number 2, add a scene or chapter. For me, each scene or chapter is roughly 1 to 2,000 words on average. My goal is to make it feel like that chapter isn't bolted on, just like with adding a new character. So I need to give that scene a reason to occur, whether that is adding to the tension, or giving context for prior or future events, or adding in a red herring for throwing the heroes off the villain's trail. Or this can be like what I mentioned in my last point, where the characters made a bad decision and now their spaceship needs repairs. While they're waiting, they get ambushed. That is high action and drama right there. For each scene I add, I set aside goals to accomplish. That may be raising the tension, expanding on a character's backstory, or throwing them in all new circumstances. These added scenes are best when a roadblock or obstacle I've created is caused directly from a character's active decision. Ideally, these scenes are added based on previously built up content, such as romantic tension. In that way, I'd be giving the readers what they want. Make these additional scenes matter by having them pay off earlier moments. Number 3, split. I have taken my largest and most complicated chapter and split it in half. Doing that alone didn't add to my word counts, however, smoothing over the pacing did. The first part of that now 2 chapters should end on a mini cliffhanger to keep readers interested. That means that we need to add the words to build up the tension in what was otherwise a midpoint of the original chapter. My target chapter length is 2,000 words. That's a good amount without being too burdensome to readers. When I get up to 5,000 or 6,000 words, I know I've written too much without giving readers a chance to pause. By splitting those excessively long chapters in this way, I force tension and drama into my stories where there might not have been enough. And I also give readers a chance to mentally rest. Thus, by splitting and adjusting my chapters which are too long, I can add more words in while exciting readers with micro-tense moments that weren't in the original story. Number 4, compensate for weaknesses. That is my second draft process, summarized in 3 words. I tend to write a skeleton first draft. I don't include enough descriptions, which leads to talking head syndrome. My characters will be having a conversation without physically moving through space, and it might as well be occurring in a blank room. I neglect character reactions and personality within the narration itself. By fixing these moments with details and prose, I've been regularly adding 100 to 1,000 words per chapter. Metaphorically grafting skin and muscle to my draft 1 skeleton has more than halved my 2,000 word deficit. And lastly, number 5, no bloat. This last point isn't so much a recommendation to fix underwriting as it is a comment to not make things worse. I would rather read a shorter, better written novel than a longer, meandering one. I mentioned earlier how there are characters in books I've read who felt like they added nothing to the story. One of those books I've criticized on Running to Write, where it felt like there were entire segments that did nothing but add fake drama or give readers empty, popcorn-like spectacles. Basically, in reading those books, I felt like the author was padding for unnecessary word counts. Sure, there were some cool scenes in there, but the best scenes become worthless when they're nothing more than excessive. While I write, I frequently ask myself, if I take out this scene, this chapter, this character, this whatever, does the story still hold up? That answer should always be no. One scene needs to lead to the next, which leads to the next, and so on and so on. The ending is not the same without each preceding moment. My entire goal for draft 2 is to add words to the story without wasting them. Much later, I do not publish a book until I believe I've achieved that goal. Those are the ways I'm fixing my underwritten first draft of my next novel. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. If you enjoyed my tips on fixing underwriting a first draft, please press those like and subscribe buttons. Are you an underwriter, an overwriter, or do you hit that sweet spot with word goals? Let me know in those comments. I post my running and writing progress on Instagram and Twitter as Running to Write, so be sure to follow me and join in with your own thoughts. Don't forget to sign up for the Running to Write monthly newsletter for regular updates on my story musings, pitfalls, and lessons learned. The link is in the description below. This episode has been brought to us by NCALIB. He's a creative Authortuber who focuses on the supernatural world. His videos include creature spotlights on everything which goes bump in the night, and he has 2 Vela series about vampires. His first series, The Unlikely Lisa Cooper, is all about a vampire fighting against her blood-sucking tendencies associated with her curse. At the time of recording this, Lisa Cooper just completed the epic ending to her first season. Now we're discovering Lisa Cooper's early years as a vampire in NCALIB's second Vela series, The Vampires of 1863. See you next time. Until then, I hope you reach your writing word count goals.